the challenges of entrepreneurship and being or becoming an entrepreneur. So, thanks for joining me wherever you may be in the world. I'm always pleased to have that connection, digital format of connecting with everybody virtually. It's a brilliant idea. Where would we be without it? So I wanted to talk about the challenges of entrepreneurship to try and make it more as a little bit candid, a little bit funny, just in terms of it's taken me to get to here to be recording live with you as well. If you're coming across me for the very first time, my name is Chiko Matenda, and I mainly record from the UK, but you can also find me recording wherever I may travel. You may have seen my vlogs on this timeline somewhere, the most recent one being in Greece. I mainly talk about lifestyle business matters and digital marketing in the form of lifestyle business, just to help and support you as an entrepreneur or business owner that is looking to become more visible and more present online, as well as to create automated systems as well. So I just thought I'll just give you that little bit of a background, just in case if you don't know who I am. So today, actually, I wanted to talk to you about content creation, some aspects of it, and I believe that it would tie in nicely with some aspects of what I'm going to talk about today, about the challenges of entrepreneurship. Okay, so the first thing that I thought about that came to mind and why I'm smiling is that it is now 6:25, and my plan was to come on live at 6 o'clock. I looked at the time, it was 5 to 6 British time. And I was thinking by 6:10, I would be finished. Not quite. I've moved around 3 to 4 times to find a good position in terms of lighting. Although I have additional lighting to help me, I wanted to grab some like natural lighting. Then I had to close the windows just to cut out like the noise. And it also got me thinking that I actually don't have place to position myself where I can work consistently with natural lighting. So that's something that I'm working towards as well. So these are the technical aspects. My laptop device that I'm using at the moment is on a tripod, and it fell 3 to 4 times. Thankfully, it's still okay. So this type of things, the reason why I'm giving you insight is that if you haven't got on camera yet, part of it just looks like it's spontaneous and you come on live and it's easy to do, but it can also take quite a little bit more of like a time more than planned, especially if you've got like other things going on technically that are preventing you from getting started. So that was like point number one. Now, is it really a challenge? I believe it's like a minor challenge, something that you can easily overcome and get used to over time and just work with it as well. I've had times when like my lives haven't gone well, or there's been technical glitches and I've had to shut down and start all over again. Never let that put you off. Just keep going and work with it, because that's what technology does, is that sometimes it works in our favor, other times it doesn't work in our favor. The key point here is about getting your message across and adding the value that you want to add as well on whichever platform you may be on. So if you haven't started live videos, or if you haven't started any videos as well, let me know. Leave a comment below. Just let me know what is your specific challenge. And if you're looking to get started, what type of challenges come across for you. Then I was just thinking about, if you're already like an entrepreneur, as I grab my bottle of water, if you're already an entrepreneur, one of the things that may come across as well is you may be either like you're starting out in business, or you're already an existing entrepreneur, looking at other people and looking at them as though, gosh, they've got it all together. They're always showing up. They always look happy and they're not stressed. But in the background, that is a completely different case together. So I'll hold my hands up. For the past 3 days, I've had like low-key moments where my motivation hasn't been at its peak as it usually is. And then there've been moments where I've been like questioning myself as to, am I heading in the right direction? Am I doing the right things? And also questioning like my momentum as well. So just to give you that insight is that this is a normal process. This is something that happens to the best of the best, that the questioning is always, it's something that is constant. And I also believe that questioning is good, because if you're not questioning anything, then you're not challenging yourself. There's questioning, and then there's being overly negative and judgmental and critical towards yourself. So to separate the two is to think about where you're questioning is more you're questioning so that you have like an awareness about how that maybe you might be procrastinating on certain things. So that's a good thing to be aware of that. And then to help yourself move beyond it and to overcome it. So like for me, the past 3 days, I know that I will go into those moments, but I know that those moments are not lasting because I've got this mechanism within myself to will myself out of that. Okay, so I never let it last for very long because I know that it's all part of the process, all part of the journey, and that I will have moments where things are not clear. So if you're going through this experience and you're thinking you're either overwhelmed, you're daunted by like, where you're going, information overload, you feel completely lost, that is actually part of the process where you need to be at this given moment. And what I do to help me as well I'll use the word snap out of it because that's what I tell myself sometimes is like this morning, I knew that this is day 3. I need to do something to switch my mindset. So I gave myself moments to relax, like watch Netflix, which is not a great thing for me to download. I uploaded the app, when was it, 2 days ago? And I knew that once I upload it, I'll become addicted to it. So I'm framing it only to watch it within specific times. But I gave myself that opportunity to let my brain go into my mind go into the direction that it was going, that I needed to rest a little bit, watch Netflix and consume information which was not too demanding. And that is okay as well. So this is day 3, and I knew that I needed to change my mindset. So what I did was I exercised, even though the first thing I was thinking is like, I feel like this, may not want to do this. But I believe that once you get into some form of like activity, whether it be like walking, I was using like skip rope, jump rope, and then doing some floor exercises as well. And it got to a point where 10 minutes into the exercise, my mindset started changing already. And aside my workout, I was also using a podcast. And I also have I'm trying to remember the app because my phone is just right there with me. I can remember Fit app. So I use Fit app as well. And I use that as a psychological thing because it also helps me with like my physio for my fibromyalgia, which I've talked about before. It helps me to keep momentum and to keep track of the activities that I'm doing, and to also help me with like my overall like well-being and to build up to where I want to get to. So having something like a tracking device will also help you to keep stimulated and to keep your mind going, especially in moments where you're doubting yourself as to not seeing like the results that you want to see. And then listening to the podcast as well. I knew that once I started listening to a podcast, ideas will start to flow and I'll come up with some content as well. So this ties in nicely with what I was going to talk about, is that the aspect of content creation. If you're running out of ideas, is finding as much opportunity as possible to continuously learn on the go, as well as when you are in your home environment, to pick a few hours so that it becomes like a habit that you're constantly learning something new and you never run out of content. So self-doubt is normal. Then the other aspect of it, being overly critical of yourself, that is another area where you may want to get support. If you're becoming like overly critical, is to ask yourself, what I go back to, I'm not necessarily over critical of myself. I tend to push myself to keep progressing forward, okay, to keep finding solutions. So that's the type of personality that I am. So you might be a different personality. It's good to understand the types of personality you are, so that if you need some kind of like support, because I believe it helps, self-development helps, is to find a mentor, a coach who can help you to look at what is your bigger message, what is your bigger why. So once you're very clear on that, when you have a tangible message and the reason you want to add value, then you move away from being overly critical of yourself, because you know that when you show up, you're showing up for other people. You're showing up to help somebody else and to add a message. There's so many things that I could criticize myself for. But when I look at it overall, like in terms of my appearance, in terms of my voice, in terms of how the lighting, a lot of things that I could criticize myself for. But I look at that and I look at it as being the most minimal thing to worry about, because the whole point of me showing up is about connecting with people who are looking for that connection in terms of education, in terms of things that will help them to move forward, to help you to move forward, to gain new ideas. So that is the reason why I show up. So anything that is like appearance wise becomes very minimal and minuscule as my point of focus. It doesn't really matter. So I've covered like questioning, and then I'll leave you off with finding customers is the pain point for as a challenge for entrepreneurs. And even this past 3 days, I was just like, what I am doing currently, is it working? What's not working very well? Am I getting anywhere? And questioning a lot of things. And again, questioning is good. So you may feel, what it made me think about is that when you're trying, I was listening to Ray Higdon on a podcast, and he was saying that if you're network marketing, this word may sound familiar. I listen to all sorts of like podcasts. So he was talking about network marketing, prospecting. I believe that's what some of individuals in network marketing do. Prospect, which means just to connect or connect with prospective clients via messenger or other forms like video, for instance. Then he was like, keep doing it, because he felt so many times in terms of being able to find customers or prospective clients on a consistent basis. So a lot of people do give up earlier. Let me stretch a little bit because I found myself sitting on the floor just to get the right position for my camera. So a lot of people do give up because they believe that it's not working. Okay, it's not working because they're not finding their ideal clients. Keep doing what you're doing, but also learning from that process, learning from what can you improve in terms of your engagement, and always think about it. What I was going to talk about is the person. Okay, so you're thinking about when you're communicating to everybody, you're thinking of one ideal client personality characteristic that you want to connect with. That's frame my content creation, is that I have at least 3 ideal characters and personas that when I'm writing my content, I think about what are their struggles, what are their challenges, and that's how I write my content. So eventually, if you're struggling with your content creation, you will ultimately find people, as long as your message becomes clearer and clearer. Obviously, in the beginning, it's going to be a little bit more of a struggle because you're starting up, people are getting to know you, you're creating your personal brand. And don't also remember about adding value. What I was going to say, don't just promote your product or just offer like a link to watch a video, because I've received those so many times. That doesn't add a personal touch in terms of connecting with your ideal prospective clients. So if you notice that people are not responsive in your messaging, it's looking at how to modify it, review it in phases, so that you are looking at developing more of authentic relationships. I've had people who've approached me and then all of a sudden cut the connection. Then I knew that the intention was only to sell. They weren't really interested in connecting with me as a person. So I hope the things that I've shared today have helped. I've mainly talked about the struggle, the challenges of entrepreneurship, the questioning, the self-doubt, finding customers, and almost feeling like, you need to give up because, or you want to quit because you're not coming to any resolution. I just came off like a meeting about, it's about a couple of hours ago. And one of the things that was common within that is that our mindsets were people that we still do things even though we don't have clarity. We don't know everything. So you don't need to know everything in order to make a success of something. You don't have to do everything all at once. What matters the most is that you start, you continue to find ways to persevere through mindset wise. And if you are in your earlier stages or even in the middle or you're progressing further, it's always also helpful to dip into mentorship, coaching from people who can help you, especially if you feel like you're not a person who is easily self-motivated or is consistent in your delivery in things that you need to be doing within your business. So thank you again for joining me. And as always, I'll look out for any comments. Feel free to reach out. There's also a live chat system, as well as private message where you can connect with me as well in terms of like my group chat. So if you ever wanted to become part of that on YouTube, there's a group mechanism that's there at the moment. Okay, so do remember to also hit the subscribe button. I'm looking above. I always look above, but it's below. So below my video, you will see the subscribe button rather than the hit button. Okay, I think you know what I mean. Bye for me for now.